Okay, welcome back to Infinite Investors. Listen, in a lot of previous videos, we've been focusing our attention on dividend cuts and basically shining a light on all of those companies that have decided to cut their dividends. So I thought, you know what, today, let's flip it on its head a little bit and actually shine a light and focus on the companies that have decided to continue paying their dividend now. Obviously, there are about 85,000 stocks in the market, so I have no ability to cover them all. So what I decided to do is take a first look at the FTSE 100, so the UK's largest companies, largest organizations, and I'm focusing on April. So the companies that are going ex-div in April, so the companies that you can still invest in and actually get their next dividend payment, which will be in either May or June, depending on when they actually decide to do so. So I'm thinking of maybe making this a monthly series. If you want this to be a monthly series, smash that like button. I want to see 200 likes. I think that's achievable. If I get 200 likes on this video, then I will definitely make this a monthly series where every single month I will go through the stocks that are going ex-div on that month and give my opinion on whether those stocks are good long-term buys. And then I will have to figure out how I'm going to do it for US stocks and other stocks that are not in the FTSE 100 as well. So yeah, I'll figure that out. But yeah, if you want to know at least for April, please like, comment, subscribe, help the channel get to 5k subscribers so we can get the world of investing out to more people in a clear, simple and transparent manner. So listen, I don't want to take a long time with this video. I want to try and keep it short and sweet, as I am just doing a pilot video, and I don't know necessarily if this is going to work or whether it's going to be something that you're interested in. So I don't want to spend too much time because a lot of research does have to go into these types of videos. But what I've basically done here is list all of the stocks in the FTSE 100. At the bottom here you can see all of the stocks that aren't paying a dividend this year, so they're not paying any dividend in 2020. If it's red, it means that they've decided to cut their dividend, or if it's grey, it means they don't actually pay a dividend anyway. And then the rest of the stocks are still paying a dividend in 2020, but obviously at different times. Now, of the ones in the ex-dividend column, you can see the grey ones, their ex-dividend date has passed. So, up until Flutter Entertainment, which went ex-div yesterday. And then you can see here, all of the green ones in this column is a declared ex-dividend date. So at this current moment, they are guaranteeing to pay you a dividend on the respective date in the payment date column. The ones that are still blank have not declared their dividend, so they have not guaranteed that they will be paying you their dividend. Now, obviously, I can go through each of the months. So we're going to just start with April, as we're in April. And at the moment, you can see that there are all of these stocks at the moment, which is about 11 stocks that are currently declared and will be paying a dividend in April. And I've decided to put their respective dividend yields here. So you've got M&G, which are an asset manager. Sorry, you've got Croda International, which is a company that manufactures chemicals and ships them abroad. You've got M&G, which is an asset manager. You've got Reckitt Benesser, which does household goods like cleaning sprays and so forth. You've got Smurfit Kappa, which is a general industrial company. You've got St. James's Place, which does sort of private life insurance and deals with some wealth customers, I believe. You've got both Antofagasta and Fresnillo, which are both mining companies, so they do mining in different regions around the world. You've got Legal and General, which is the stock that I hold. Obviously, they do insurance. You've got Spirax Sarco Engineering, which is an engineering company. I believe they manufacture boxes, I believe. You've got Relex, which is a data analytics and media company, and then you've got London Stock Exchange, which is basically tracking the London Stock Exchange of all of the stocks that's currently there on the market, and this is their respective yields at the moment. So you've got some with pretty high yields, be it which one is this one? M&G, which is paying at 8.39% yields. I personally don't really like asset managers. I used to hold Man Group, which is a fund of funds. Me personally, I'm not really a fan of those type of companies, but it is paying at 8.39% yield. I believe that M&G hasn't actually been around for too long as a publicly traded company. Something worth looking into though, if you are attracted by the yield, but don't let the yield be too your main focus, because obviously sometimes it can be misleading. You've got St. James's Place, which is a sturdy company. It's definitely a solid company, paying a solid 6.0% 0.02% yield. I remember looking at St James's Place quite a while back, and I thought to myself, it's interesting, but it wasn't interesting enough, and so I decided to put my money elsewhere. You've got Antofagasta, which is paying a 3.59% yield. Antofagasta was one of the companies that when I very first started investing, it was on my watch list along with Centamin and a few others, but I chose to go with Centamin over Antofagasta. So it was a company that actually could have been the Centamin in my portfolio, but I decided to go with Centamin when I looked at the fundamentals. Basically, you got Fresnillo, which is a fan favorite of some of you guys out there. Shout out to Dean, I know you like Fresnillo and you've been doing pretty well on that. When I looked at the fundamentals, it wasn't too appealing, or it definitely didn't meet my personal criteria, but it doesn't mean to say that it's a bad company or anything. Legal & General, not much more needs to be said on Legal & General. 8.25% yield. They've decided that they've announced that they're definitely going to pay their dividend, and their stock price has shot up recently because of it, because people are obviously flooding towards it, trying to get that 8.25% yield. You've got Spirax, Relics, and London Stock Exchange Group. So outside of Legal & General, if I was to give you my three biggest picks, it would actually be Spirax, Relics, and London Stock Exchange Group, because when I looked at their past performance, their history, when I looked at their debt to equity ratio, and when I looked at their future performance and their future earnings potential, they all looked like pretty safe, pretty steady bets. Now, as you can see, they don't pay the most astronomical headline generating yield in terms of 0.97, 2.55%, and 1.31%. But I think a lot of you are not just looking for a good yield, you're looking for protection of your capital as well, and you want to make sure that you're investing into something long term that's going to sustain, that can increase over time, that your money can increase over time, and that actually there's not going to be any erosion from a capital gain standpoint. It's very, very important that you guys beware of dividend traps, which is basically companies that pay you a nice dividend, but ultimately the capital gains just depletes year on year, and effectively the money that you're losing on a capital gain is not really going to be offset by the amount that you're actually getting in dividends, and effectively over a long period of time you'll be worse off than you was had you just left the money in a 0.0001% ISA. So that's definitely something to be personally aware of as well. But yeah, those three for me were ones that actually looked pretty interesting when I gave it a little bit of a deep dive. But listen, if I do make this a regular series, I'm going to go more deeper into their fundamentals of each of those companies. So looking at their debt to equity, looking at all of their price ratios, and seeing how valuable the company potentially is, and which price ratio is probably the best one to looking at the volatility of an organization. Now, typically with a lot of these business, I don't expect much volatility because they are meant to be some of the safest companies within the UK. However, you never know in this current climate, and maybe depending on what industry they're in, they're probably going to be some of them might have more expectation of volatility due to the current situation as well. So there's a lot of different things to kind of factor in that. I'm going to look at their dividend history, how well they've been paying dividends. I'm also going to look at their insider trading. Are people in their companies having positive sentiment about them? Are they looking to buy these businesses? Are these businesses ones that are actually selling off a lot recently? Are there any issues with the management team? So all of that I'll be looking into as well, just to kind of get a good flavor of any of the stocks in that month that is basically going ex-div, and whether or not they're going to be good companies. But yeah, because obviously it means I'm going to have to do a lot of research on a lot of different stocks, I want to make sure that it's definitely valuable to you lot. So I know roughly how much views I get, I know roughly how much people watch each video, and so I want to see 200 likes on this video for me to make this into a regular monthly series where I will evaluate all of the stocks that are paying a dividend in the next couple of months, that are guaranteed to do so, and whether or not they are good long-term investments. Listen, I hope you found this video useful. Like I said, this is just a preview. This is for me to kind of gauge whether or not this is something you'll be interested in, but if so, I'll definitely make a series about this. You know, we'll give it some cool funky title. I don't know what we're going to call it. Dividend Dons each. Oh no, I'll come up with a better name than that. That name's whack. But listen, like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you next time with another investment video. Got the portfolio update coming out tomorrow, so yeah, hopefully you guys will be interested in all of that. Take care, be safe, stay home, and last but not least, happy investing. Peace.